All good endings leave something to the imagination. It's a great subtle way to ensure your franchise lives on in the zeitgeist, even if you're done with it. The problem is when I have more questions than answers. Enter The Last of Us. Even if some of the questions I ask are answered in the 2020 sequel, think of it more as a retrospective, because there was a time where even Neil Druckmann didn't know if he would make a sequel, so at the time, this was the definitive ending. You probably already know the ending of The Last of Us, or you don't care and want to rob yourself of one of the most heartfelt and horrific stories told in all of fiction. So I'll skip to the end, as I fear I've started to drift into giving more context than opinion lately. Ellie tells Joel, okay. That 2-letter word brings up more discussion than I can muster for most Quantic Dream games. Is it acceptance that she's never going to know? Or perhaps she trusts that she's better off not knowing? Is it ignorance? Does she even care about the truth? Or does she now know she's back to not being able to trust anyone? Is it a genuine belief of what should be a self-evident fabrication? What is their relationship going forward? One of hate and truth, or joys and lies? Neither is preferable, and neither is what Ellie wants. But then, there's no real solution to that problem, now is there? Regardless of what she thinks, we now have an abundance of questions based on the final syllable of the game, and that's not even beginning to scratch the surface of dangling plot threads, both important and irrelevant. There is the question of Ellie's immunity that we still don't have an answer to. Is it genetic? Or is she patient zero? Do the Fireflies know what she is? Could that be the reason killing Ellie was the only option? In the real world, cordyceps doesn't affect the brain at all, something Neil Druckmann would have definitely known. Right now, it's just as plausible Ellie was selected by the gods of purity and sent to Earth as a Christ-like figure to, quote, seek and save the lost, Luke 19:10, with divine healing, and only when the 7 sins of man are overcome can she release her proper form and revert all those twisted by this fungal plague. Are there more like her? If you'll indulge a small anecdote, my concept for a Last of Us sequel was a cult led by an intelligent, human-like infected who controlled the other infected and came searching for Ellie. I immediately realized I got this idea because I'd just seen How to Train Your Dragon 2. Let's forget the toll on Ellie for a moment. What of Joel? How does this new secret prevent him from living in his new, relatively peaceful life? Ellie will undoubtedly be uneasy around him, but what will he be thinking about as he spends time with her? About everyone who dies from this point forward is on his conscience? The begging of Marlene in that filthy parking lot? Or is he genuinely psychotic enough that getting Sarah back was more important and he never thinks about that day? Willing to go on living a peaceful life because he got what he, and only he, wanted. How in the hell are the infected not extinct? The game takes great strides to assure us that these are not zombies. They require food and water just like any fungus. So if the humans struggle to feed themselves, how do the infected? They don't have stealthy hunting techniques. They could just be eating each other. But then what happens when they run out? It's not like they can reproduce— Shutting up now, never mind, nope, don't need an answer to that one. The Last of Us certainly has one of the best endings in video game history, even though there was too much uncertainty for my liking, but perhaps that was the point. To those who said it was the perfect ending and never needed a sequel, I say nay. The Last of Us was a game that I considered truly needed a sequel, as too much was left unanswered. Despite your opinion on said sequel, for which my opinion will be kept ambiguous for now, it was, by all means, a necessary video game.